Well, everyone, I did say we'd be looking at what's more or less a predecessor to Cool Cat, so here it is. It's called Get Street Smart, A Kid's Guide to Stranger Dangers, starring Corny the Alien Sea Monkey. I mean, he kinda does look like one, but anyway, this film is meant to serve as part of a series of educational films by Capstone Entertainment, all featuring their brand character, who is apparently America's favorite alien exchange student. Pah, people apparently forgot America's real favorite alien exchange student. Finding info on this movie is rather difficult, as the only Capstone Entertainment I found was this seemingly B-grade studio with questionable content that was founded in 2004, while the one that made the Corny films was founded in the mid-90s by Jeff Hayes. The only thing of note is that he runs a production company named after him, while the Capstone Entertainment he founded is presumably defunct, although on IMDb it shows up as Capstone Pictures. Yet only 2 of their films seem to show up there, and in other places, they had at least 10 films made, although some of them might be duplicates given how they were listed. None of the Corny films are present on IMDb, and you'd think that a film directed by Sean McNamara would at least make it onto his IMDb page. But no, I guess even those Baby Geniuses sequels were worth more than Corny. Hell, the only reason I even know about Corny is because of a certain video by Everything is Terrible. I doubt many people know this thing even exists, and I doubt me reviewing it will magically cause it to appear everywhere. The only ones who bothered were part of the Internet Movie Cars database, and that had more info than anyone else. But alas, it's not like I'm the first to cover this anyway, though maybe my personal take will be enjoyable to you anyway. So let's all settle down to Get Street Smart, A Kid's Guide to Stranger Dangers. Right away, we get an opening text crawl like in Star Wars. Because I could be watching episode 1 instead of this. It'd be more interesting at least. Which explains everything. Corny, or Capricorn as he's really called, comes from the planet Zarkon, where he is to learn what it means to be street smart and teach it to all the kids across the universe. Question, does that mean we're already aware of alien life and can accept them as human citizens? Do cat aliens exist? Just wondering. Oh, but he's constantly pursued by strangers and evil kidnappers. Well, if this were made now, that'd be the perfect description for ICE. As well as anyone working for the Dump Administration, really. But enough of that. Where is Corny?
Hey, you're listening to the Beach Bingo Boys with I'm Surfing! Woo! Hey, this is the Bud and Judd Show. I'm Bud, that's Judd. Hey, Bud, say something. Hey, rise and shine, folks. Don't forget that something.
There he is!
Look at him, vibrating in his bed? Must already hit puberty. Now to give credit, I do think the costume and makeup look far more convincing than with Cool Cat's mascot-like design. At least I can believe he'd be an alien child, even if he is still a bit creepy looking. And a bit taller than most kids in this film. Don't know how well he'd look animated. Oh, and if you're wondering why they couldn't use better makeup for Cool Cat like they do here, well, considering some of the other things I've seen... yeah, I don't think it would work out well. Too bad their budget couldn't allow for costumes for the parents.
Ready to blast into orbit, son?
Duh, Dad!
Duh. Does not compute. Does not compute.
Want an energy pack, Capricorn?
Oh, no thanks, Mama. I'll just have one of these.
Oh, that's a good boy, Capricorn. Goldfish make your skin nice and scaly.
Well, someone should tell that family that goldfish are friends, not food. And if that voice sounds familiar, well, apparently that's Richard Horvitz as Corny. He's credited as Richard Stoltz, which doesn't show up on IMDb, though Googling for the actor does bring up Horvitz at the top. And like with McNamara, this film isn't even credited on his page. And maybe it's for the best. Though to think he'd go from playing a dim-witted alien child to playing a dim-witted alien child with guns. Corny leads a pretty pathetic life. His mom had to get him friends willing to protect him because he's so inept that he literally talks to whatever stranger approaches him.
He's a stranger, Corny. Do you have any clue about strangers?
Yeah. Green, mean, and hairy with a big red eye right here. Yeah.
A friend would never do anything to hurt you, but a stranger you're not too sure about.
A stranger could be a clown, or even a delivery person who might try to hurt you or take you away. Being too friendly can get you in big trouble.
Look, I've got insurance. My fail-safe device. It just zaps me away.
Awesome. Then I guess we don't have to worry about you anymore.
Well, the only problem is that I'm never exactly quite sure where I'm gonna end up.
Hear that, kids? As long as you have your MacGuffin button, you'll be safe from any possible danger. Sure, it's random where you'll end up, but it's better than being dead. It's safety week here at school, and as Corny demonstrates, he wants none of it.
Follow your gut feeling. Yes, Capricorn.
I don't think I have any guts. Anyway, what's a gut feeling?
It's like radar, Corny. It's trusting your heart. It's a funny feeling, like something isn't right, or you can't trust someone.
It's like something inside of you is saying, no way, Jose.
I'm rather surprised. The students don't make fun of him for being an idiot. That's not realistic. Though then again, this is a film with a space alien in it. Apparently, the school doesn't believe in school buses, as not only do they have to walk to school, but walk home as well. And considering how this town is, it says a lot about their principal. And since he chose to walk home alone, completely ignoring the buddy system they established, this is a good time for them to bring up that one message prompt these PSAs have. Now, for one thing, I'd retrace my steps so I go back to the main path and never take shortcuts. Or better yet, I'd be avoiding this problem altogether by taking the school bus. Because immediately after going through the fence, he's followed by a man in a truck. But why stop there? How about a woman asking about her lost dog?
The poor lady. This must be that gut feeling.
At this point, it'd be too late to try anything since you got one guy behind you and the lady is just waiting to grab you if you do try to run. Either way, you're screwed!
See, kids, that's what happens when you don't use the buddy system. The buddy system has gone on to safeguard the lives of millions throughout the world. Just grab the hand of the person next to you. It's the smart and enjoyable way to watch out for others while they watch out for you. So, buddy up for safety!
But not to worry, he's got his MacGuffin button to warp him out. So what happens now? Well, after getting home, somehow, he doesn't bring this up to his parents. But none of that matters because, wait for it,
Ready to blast into orbit, son?
Want an energy pack, Capricorn? Oh, that's a good boy, Capricorn. Goldfish make your skin nice and scaly.
that's right. The day just reset itself a la Groundhog Day. And I gotta admit, to have a time loop plot in a PSA film like this, it's probably the most original thing I've seen a PSA do. This could work in favor of using one child needing to learn a lesson about stranger danger, but until they do, they repeat the same day. The problem is, because of the type of audience they have, you can't show the child being harmed in any way. So it really only works for PSAs that are willing to be serious and go dark with it. But there are other problems with this film using that kind of plot device. For one thing, Corny is so dense that it takes most of the runtime for him to finally get what he has to learn. Then there's the matter of consistency. While the first part of the morning runs fine, it's after he gets out of the house does things diverge even without him doing anything. That guy from the truck doesn't show up at all, and while the sidewalk guy doesn't show up until later in this loop, the kids skip to the line where being too friendly would get you into trouble for no reason. Then, at school, instead of acting like it's the first day of safety week, just before school ends, they're acting like it's a different day with a different lesson.
Strangers like to fish for children and aliens. They have their favorite fishing spots. Isolated church and school grounds, parking lots, empty lots, dark places.
Again, would be a fitting description of Ice. Also, I don't remember him having his name plastered on his back like that. It's like they originally intended for this to play out normally. Like have each day have something bad happen to him, but not tell anyone about it. And then later they rewrote it to include the time loop mechanic. Either way you look at it, it just feels lazy. This next dilemma does bring up a good point though.
Never get in a car unless the driver knows your secret family code word.
Capricorn! Your mother's been hurt in an accident. She sent me to come get you. Get in the car.
Oh no! My mom?
Now the code word thing would be one good way to establish a trust system with the parents and who they consider a friend. The downside would be if a stranger found out somehow, but it's one way to increase safety, especially if there was an emergency. That's the one thing this film is somewhat good at. Verbal lessons on possible situations where a stranger might approach you to do something with them, thus tricking you into being kidnapped. One way would be posing as a police officer, because they can fake badges all the time, and a bunch of other things this film briefly discusses. The thing is, though, Corny is the only one subjected to these acts of trickery, and because he's in a time loop for God knows how long, it only makes him seem dumber than any other kid who would otherwise know how to avoid danger in these PSAs. I say the time loop mechanic can work because if used in a darker story, they'd have to live through the consequences of being abducted, but they waste it on slapstick.
No thanks, not my color. Something I said?
It's like they want to teach you a lesson, but they're too afraid to go too dark with it. But really, that's probably the best way to get it through their heads that if a stranger catches you, it's over. I wouldn't expect someone to die in this film, of course, but really, they come pretty close, but just stop short. And now the montage that made me pick this film.
Stop, think, listen to your heart. Don't be scared, hey,
Jeez! How is he still alive after that? If you fell on a power line like that, you'd be as dead as Jimmy from that power station PSA. No, don't play with him. He might end up... Oh!
Stop, think, listen to your heart. Don't be scared.
And really, at this point I'd have to ask, what would happen if he left his device behind? Or if it broke during one of these kidnappings? Can you imagine what would happen then?
Strangers posed as smiling friends.
Seriously, what is with this town and their interest in molesting this one kid? I don't care if he's a space alien and it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. That does not mean you get to ignore human laws that punish you for this sort of thing, you sick perverts! Oh look, he forgot his thing. I wonder what will happen today.
What do you do if someone really scares you?
You all have permission to be rude and loud. Make a scene. Your voice is your best weapon, so let's hear it! Yeah!
My zapper! My zapper! Oh no! Where's my zapper? Where's my zapper? Oh no! What am I gonna do? I can't get home! Someone's gonna get me! I'm gonna die!
Aw, don't worry. I'm sure they can call your parents to pick you up. Nope! Send him home like usual. Not even have his friends come with him? Really? You're gonna have Sidewalk Guy again? After he already had his way in one of the loops? He at least remembers to lock the door and call his mom.
I lost my zapper!
You'll be fine. Just don't answer the phone unless it rings twice. Stops, then rings twice again. You know, our code. We'll let the answering machine take the call. I'll let Dad know you're home safe. And remember, don't let strangers into the house.
Okay.
Sure you're okay?
Yeah, I guess.
He also starts to grow sense when someone tries to make a delivery. Good. Don't take risks, even for packages. He might be learning something after all.
Corny! Open the door, Corny.
No. Stop. Think. Listen to your heart.
He should be listening to his butt, because now he's about to get it in the ass a second time.
Most often, kidnappers are people you already know.
Yeah, like that guy you always talk to.
Not. What are you doing?
I've been watching you for days. I know every move you make, and your parents too.
I thought you were my friend!
That's just what I wanted you to think, and you went for it. The gum, everything. All right, we're gonna go out to my car and get in it. You be good, you won't get hurt. You give me trouble, I'm gonna come back and take care of your parents.
So he's either a serial rapist, a murderer, or even ice. Doesn't matter, he's evil regardless. His thoughts tell him to act up in a frenzy, which is a valid method of drawing attention and escaping. Good thing they trip over that bike he doesn't actually own.
He's not my father! He's a kidnapper! How'd you get here so fast?
Your mom called us to check your house. That's a great parent who follows her gut feelings.
Didn't you get it when you came?
Neither did I. But I do, huh? Hey! I'm street smart! Yeah!
Yes, and it only took being nearly kidnapped to make you realize you had it in you all along. Plus luck that a lady was nearby and your mother calling the cops, as what would a kid do to escape from an overpowered adult? And so, because he didn't use his little MacGuffin button, he's no longer in a loop, and he's now confident enough where he can talk to little children about stranger danger.
Corny, my name is Aaron Tate. My phone number is 237-4543. And my parents' names are Karen and David Tate. Remember? I'm your neighbor. Otherwise, I'll walk right back in my house and ignore you, which I should have done in the first place. Duh.
And be outsmarted by them.
Listen up. Trust me. With strangers, there are no do-overs. You gotta get it right the first time. We've got to be street smart. No matter what happens tomorrow or the rest of my life, my mission is to make this world a safer place. What about you?
Yeah!
Oh, no you don't. I remember Cool Cat Saves the Kids. I know you have more film left. It isn't over until the credits start. Oh. It really is over. Alright, I don't know what they're getting at this. What makes him so special that his accomplishments go throughout the universe? And yes, he would try to teach the kids of Earth how to make it a safer place. It didn't turn out well, since he'd go on to discuss other things that I may or may not do, depending on whether or not I can find them online. But otherwise, that's A Kid's Guide to Stranger Dangers. Needless to say, it's dumb as hell. However, in its defense, I will say it's better made than Cool Cat Saves the Kids. For one thing, it keeps focus on its messages. It doesn't diverge into other needless subplots. Everything present is related to the topic of stranger danger. Corny, regardless of what you think of his design, at least has somewhat of a real character arc, going from dumbass kid with an attitude to somewhat more competent, even if it came out forced. The lessons are legit, and could still be effective even now. Just note that many circumstances with strangers can be unique, so take these as the common methods of a stranger attack. If anything, the lessons just feel a bit dampened by the lack of care from Corny, and how many times it took him to learn anything, and a waste of a time loop mechanic that could have been implemented in a better made PSA. Of course, it only makes sense why you don't see these sorts of films re-released on DVD. They do exist on VHS, but this one can be found on YouTube rather easily. I'd say it's worth a watch just for the sheer novelty of watching Richard Horvitz in an alien costume. I don't know what he was thinking either, but man, he certainly lightens things up. A dumb PSA, but I had a lot of fun with it. So, how do you follow up a dumb PSA about a space alien child? By reading a webcomic on naked anthros. But until then, I'm the Media Hunter. Media's my prey, and reviewing them my way.
Stop, think, listen to your heart. Don't be scared, hey, get street smart. Strangers pose as smiling friends, cause you danger.
Bye.